Sonya, aka Myledo, thank you so much for joining. How's it going?
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Pretty well, pretty well.
That's good to hear. Good to hear. Just spoke with Luba, mutual friend, and yeah, it's been great having a quick chat to you and meeting you properly before the show. So you, Sonya, are part of a new kind of, I don't want to say generation, but a kind of rising resurgence of bass music from Sydney, which is something that is really close to my heart being from Sydney, and it's really exciting. And out of nowhere, it seems like you've started your own label, and it's really fucking exciting. So and you produce as well, which is something that I'm learning about. So what I'd love to hear from you in the beginning is, how did you find electronic music back in the day, and what's led you to the point that you are now? Let's start at the beginning.
Back in the day when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'm not too sure. If I go far enough back, like I definitely have my mother to thank.
Yep.
She would we would go on like long road trips on the weekend and just chuck some CDs in the car, and like some really memorable ones is like Deep Child. He still kind of makes like house and electronic music. She was really into him.
Okay.
And yeah, other like house music and stuff. So she was never really particularly mainstream. So I probably like was like, oh yeah, there's definitely other stuff out there.
Yep.
But we all love a bit of Outcast anyway. Who doesn't?
Of course, yeah, you got to.
And then yeah, from there I think I started going to warehouse parties a little too young, I will admit. And yeah, like started partying, listening to all the other kind of music, but I didn't really take that like massive interest into it quite yet. It was mostly just the partying that I was into.
Yeah.
And then probably, yeah, around like 16, 17 years old, when you're a teenager, you're kind of like searching for something to become who you are and find your path in the world or something. And then I don't know, but yeah, eventually landed into like, digging into electronic music, and yeah, found Subtract and Disclosure, and then found a few friends that really liked it. And that's kind of like where I started digging and realizing, oh, maybe the reason I don't like, mainstream music is because it's just not for me. And then
yeah.
As you start digging, more doors open, and then you're like, oh my God, I can't shut these doors. And it's, it's so much.
Yeah.
It's such a long story. That's such a big question. But if I keep going, I'll keep going. From there, yeah, the dubstep in what year would it have been then? Like 2011 and 12.
Yep.
Kind of that era of like Scream, Roscoe, Banga,
Yep.
going to those big gigs. That was really awesome. And what started me DJing was a couple of friends who, one of them really liked drum and bass, one of them really liked dubstep, but they would one of them had like, and this is back in the day before Nexuses, before 2000s. My mate just had like 3 CDJ 900s and a full like PA system in his bedroom or like living room,
No
which is
shit.
basically essentially having like 3 Nexuses in their living room now.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, that's your hobby. You've spent a lot of money on this.
Yeah.
And I just
Yeah.
partied. And then eventually, we had a lot of good times together. Eventually they're like, all right, Sonya, you got to bring in some music on a USB, some of your favorite songs, and we'll teach you how to mix. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow.
And they basically like, oh yeah.
No, I was just gonna say, what were you bringing in? What was the music you were bringing in?
There was quite a bit of house, definitely some Disclosure and Subtract. It's hard to remember. It's such a while ago, and things change.
That's okay. Sorry, I interrupted your flow.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Flow comes back sometimes. But yeah, no, they did like a really hardcore training on me. They just kind of like taught me the basics and didn't let me leave the decks until I got like a good beat match and transition. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh. We all started playing like parties together. And yeah, that's where I met like Luba and Slam, Louis Pierce, Revive Pleasure, was my friends had put on some parties, invited them to play, and then it's like, oh, hello, more people with like interesting taste in music. Ooh. Sort of snowballed from there. I started playing lots of deep house or deep, I don't know anymore, there's so many houses.
Yeah.
But the kind of like bouncy cheesier stuff.
Yep.
And the names do generally slip me. And then from there, I also really enjoyed labels like Click Click Boom. French Fries is an absolute legend if you know of his work. Hessel Audio, Polykicks, like artists like Ramadan Man, that started really influencing me, like that minimal, really raw percussive kind of sound as well. And then after that, I found that Sydney wasn't quite enough for me. I ran away to live in Japan, and music was kind of on the back seat for a while.
Oh wow, okay.
So I kind of just did whatever, learning Japanese, having fun, blah blah blah. And didn't DJ again for like another couple of years when I moved to New Zealand, and then I made myself a nice little niche in the town that I'd found myself in, because there's only like 3 other female DJs, and they all had their own styles. So I was just like in my own kind of like realm, which was quite nice.
Yeah.
Played some good bush doofs. And then that's when I started playing like bass house, which I will say I'm slightly embarrassed about, but hey, that was part of my journey nonetheless.
Yeah.
Like, I go back to those folders and stuff that I was playing, and I'm like, But some of the gigs, they were tough gigs. Like, I have a thick skin now. It would be like you start at 9:30 and play till 2:30, and you're lucky if you can squeeze into the bathroom, because you got to watch to make sure no one's in there. Leave the decks, run away, go wee, and then come back, and you're like, oh geez, you got to make sure you played a long song just in case there's someone there. But like, you got to build the crowd the whole night, keep them entertained for that like peak period, and then there's the messy part of the end night, and like anything can happen in those like 5 or 6 hours. Pretty brutal.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's like going to war.
And you've got your music, it's like, oh, who's coming tonight?
Yeah.
Oh geez. From there, again, I think I took a little bit of a break, moved to Canada, did a whole bunch of other stuff. And then New Zealand, and then like I kind of, because I inside myself I could feel I didn't quite like the bass house kind of stuff that I was playing. I'd given myself a bit of a weird name and I didn't enjoy it, so I started to like just put my foot down kind of to myself in a way, and just be like, look, only play music that you really like, because that's the only way it feels genuine, it's fun. And like people can feel it in the crowd when, you know, you're really vibing a tune, and then they'll vibe as well. Whereas, you know, if you're kind of standing there hating your life, it's kind of like, who's this guy? They don't want to dance, no one wants to dance for you.
For sure. And then you're clearing dance floors, and then you're questioning, do you even like it anymore? It's just a shit time.
Exactly. So then I started to be like, all right, I definitely, go back to my roots of like, Pale Man, really dark minimal stuff. Oh yeah.
Yeah. He put out a new one recently. It's fucking heavy.
Oh, please. All right, I'm taking notes. I'm gonna find him.
Yeah.
New Pale Man, unbelievable. But so I started to get back into the jungle, the dubstep, UK garage, all the stuff that I kind of, you know, loved in Sydney. And kind of left behind, because wherever I went, Sydney is a very unique place in that it has like a niche for every music genre and lover out there, from breakcore to shitcore to your folk, your jazz. Like it's so rich, and I was really blessed. So I think that was part of like, I never felt at home kind of with my taste, so that's why I kind of changed it to the crowds and the scenes, if you know what I mean. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. So it was nice to do that. And then I did come back home to Sydney and was like, okay, I need to find my thing. And then I was like, I fucking love Footwork. and I don't think it's explored enough in a lot of places, or most people don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Which is like, crazy. But like, you know, the stuff that Rashad makes, or Triple Train, like the entire Tech Life crew, really awesome stuff. I got like, just because I'm also super into jazz. I find that they're really similar genres in their complexity and the emotion and their history, just from the cultures that they have arisen from.
Right.
But these are just like parallels that I've drawn in the back of my head. Then I need to like maybe verbalize them better, or like think about it some more. But like, it's really cool, the similarities they have. And artists like Sully cross those boundaries really well. It's amazing. His album Trip to Warsaw, it's like this halftime footwork jazz dissonant. It's an art piece. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I highly recommend that. That really like opens the whole other world. And I just love the uniqueness and the syncopated rhythms and all that stuff. And a label that really influenced me was Filth Tracks, because they had the really modern take on 160 with like jungle and really dreamy chords and stuff like that. And I've just kept digging and just wherever
that's
my heart takes me now.
So that's what sort of led you to Footwork, basically. You've been around the houses when it comes to lots of electronic music genres, but you've sort of landed on Footwork. And somebody that, you know, a mutual friend of ours, Drew Floor 20, when I was speaking to him, legend, he said that, I asked him what draws him to Footwork, and he said that it's like just a giant playground that's a little bit slower than that fast drum and bass stuff, and you got so many creative people throwing so much at this like really, really free genre. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe not everyone will share the same opinion that it's like a totally free genre, because if you have heard from chatting to other people that if you talk to the originators of the genre, they're very touchy about their culture and how, because you know, it originated in like Chicago, I believe, and Detroit and that kind of stuff, and they have a lot of cultural identity with the dance scene in those areas, because it's quite a big part of their identity, and some of these new white kids kind of trash it. So I've heard there can be some like very sensitive bits.
Yep.
But if we extract that from that and just do look at it as a big open genre, the 160 plane is like incredible. It's developing so much. Like did you manage to listen to the release I just sent you this morning?
I managed to have a quick glance through it. Yeah. There was there was one
track.
Sorry, go on.
Etra's track Green Eyes, on that, it's coming out on B&H in a few weeks. Like I asked him, I was like, oh, what genre would you say this is? Because I'm like trying to put it into the distribution. He's like, oh, I don't know, man, like minimal jungle or something like this. We don't have names for the sounds that we're making anymore. It's just how big the playground is.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And B&H is the record label that you've started now.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
It was a big accident. Let's face it. Like most of us are accidents. No, I'm kidding. I don't know, because like a few years ago, I was sitting around and I'm like seeing people making, you know, a couple of mates making labels, and I'm like, oh, it looks like a lot of hard work. Like I just want to do the fun bits, just make the music, kind of thing. And then like last year was where I really started like focusing on, I want to make some music, and I know it's going to take a long time to get good. So I just was like, the more hours I put in, you know, and so I did. I made lots of music, and then I was like, okay, it's time. It's kind of good enough. I start pushing it to, you know, labels, seeing if anyone bites. And then you realize, oh man, no one wants to listen to me. Like there's so many people out there. Like it's everything's oversaturated and you know, there's stuff out there. So I was like, oh well, you know, I released my first little EP just independently. I was like, oh, I want my music out there. It's too hard, you know, getting rejected and all this stuff. And then that was out there, and then eventually I did find Ashley, and she's amazing. She's just so like responsive and honest and like to the point, and a hard worker. She's an incredible woman. And like had my first official release with her and like a few other ones, and I was like, oh sweet, like things are rolling.
Yep.
And then I just kept making more and more music, and then the way I make music is not consistent. I have quite like a number of methods or things that will inspire me, and I start at different places and end up with very different stuff. But sometimes what I like to do is pick an idea or a theme and then build upon that. So one really good example is my release with Bonne Musique. I was like, I want to make jazzy jungle. So then I was like, all right, spewed out some projects in that realm and came up with these 3 songs in that EP,
yep.
which are all kind of, they have that like interlacing idea. And then a project, it would have been like, I don't know when. I think it was earlier this year. So maybe like 7 months ago-ish. I was like, all right, I have this, I've had this idea brewing for a while and didn't start it, but I was thinking, what if I make like footwork that's inspired from East Asian sounds, Oriental kind of, flutes and bongos, tablas, or all those kind of sounds,
yep.
which are they have really cool timbres and tonalities in them. So then I made like 5 or 6 tracks in that idea, showed them to some people, pushed them to some labels. I was pretty proud. I worked hard on it.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh no, not keen on it. Hey, I was like, oh, I'm pretty done with this. Hey, like, or you get ghosted. Oh, the ghosting is incredible. People will like listen to your stuff, not reply, or like, and you're like, oh, you can just say no, bro. Like,
dude, I feel your pain. I work in sales. I get ghosted constantly. It's the worst.
Yeah. Like the constant ghosting was really, really troubling me.
Yeah.
And I started to realize that, every now, like I think I saw Noisy Wilson made a track on his SoundCloud called Monk, which was with the same idea, like kind of a Asian theme into electronic music. And I was like, oh, cool. And then I started to find a couple more, and I was like, maybe I should just start putting these together. And I like reached out to Alexander, the gentleman that runs New Culture. I was like, oh, can I collect your song for some projects? I don't know what I'm doing with it, but it's and he was like, yeah, sweet. Glad you like it. Oh, you do awesome stuff. Oh, sweet. Like, and we just got chatting, la.
Yeah.
And then eventually I was like, oh, hey Alex, do you want this song for New Culture? And like this collection of projects, it's growing into quite this monster I can't control. All these songs. And he was like, yeah, we can totally put it on New Culture, but I think you should start your own thing. And I'm like, I don't know, still umming and ahhing. And then eventually, like, I invited more and more people, and then got some really amazing work back. And I'm like, well, just got to start my own thing now. Like, it's all it is. And were you ever a fan of Futurama?
Not deep like some people went with it, but yeah, I fucking love. Obviously, Bender's a G.
Yeah. The name of the record label is just a little a reference to a joke from Futurama.
Is it?
There was it's so silly because I was sitting in the car with Knuckle. Actually, he's on Extra Spicy as well.
Yep.
We were sitting in the car together, and I was having a ramble about being ghosted all the time by labels, as I do, because who doesn't love a good ramble?
Yeah.
So, and I was like, there's this episode in Futurama where Bender the robot gets kicked out of an amusement park, and he was like, well, fine, I'll have my own amusement park with blackjack and hookers and forget the whole park. So I was sitting in the car, and like Eric watches Futurama as well, and I was like, I'm just gonna make my own label with blackjack and hookers, and then that's the name of the label now.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. It's just it
was
became
just
it.
like
Yeah.
it just became it. Yeah, because for weeks I was like, I had all these projects and I couldn't think of a name for the label for ages. I was like, I'm in a pickle here. I can't do anything because it needs to be like catchy and simple and all this other stuff kind of thing. But it was so funny. It was like a couple of weeks ago, I was chatting to a friend, and he was talking, so you made a label. And I was like, yeah, I just got sick of talking to other labels not, responding. And then my mate didn't even know the name of the label, just went, so you made your own label with blackjack and hookers. And I was like, yes, I did. I can't believe the name. I was like, that was so golden.
Holy shit, man. That's crazy. Amazing. And you're now on, so you've had the first release now. How did that go?
Yeah, pretty well. I was happy with it. I'm not trying to take it too seriously or put too much pressure, because it is just like a fun thing. Like, I think my personal production I take kind of seriously and will, yeah, but I just don't want it to be too, I don't know,
all consuming, or like put too much pressure on it.
Yeah, I don't want too much pressure on it. So like, yeah, I was really surprised that I made the first release free just to like kick things off, but some people were really generous and donated anyway. I was like, oh, that's so nice, that people are paying for music.
Yeah.
We all put so much time and effort into it and get next to nothing back.
For sure. Yeah, no. I was actually in Italy trying to find a place for lunch with my missus when I paid for it. I bought it when I was in Italy.
Oh, thank you.
Because I know, I'm mates with Noisy Wilson as well, Alexander, and he's so encouraging. He's putting a track of mine on his next compilation, and it wasn't more than an 8-bar loop, and I sent it to him and he completed it. He just finished the song and it's coming out, and it's just like, dude, I've been producing for a couple of months and I've got his mentality of like, just like, come on, like everybody just like get stuck in, go, don't worry. He's a fucking amazing guy, man.
So inclusive. Like, he just wants everyone to be like this big, massive family, which is how it should be, I think. Like, yeah.
For sure. Fuck off elitism and all that kind of stuff. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
rude.
Your productions. We've gone a long while without actually talking about music production, which is kind of the point of this show. So, what was your first music production setup, and where is it now?
It's pretty funny because that's not much. What did I start? Oh yeah, I think when I started to get serious, I had a feeling you'd ask me this question. And I couldn't find the picture of my first setup because it was really, really funny.
Okay.
I had just moved to Canada for my second time, and I didn't quite have enough money to buy furniture for my room yet. So I just had like a $20 Walmart table, which was like the bottom was this big.
Yeah.
And my laptop just fit on it. And I just had enough room for my like mouse pad. So that was my table. And I was on, I think my DJ headphones or like Apple earphones.
Yep.
That's what I started with.
Nice.
And then I moved to Sydney, got back to my KRKs, got a MIDI controller, which I have now downsized to one of these.
Okay.
Because it's all right. It's all you kind of need. And the KRKs have been sold because they were kind of past they were really old model. So they were like, if I kept them any longer, they would have. Anyway, so I'm back to pretty much nothing.
Is it?
Apart from that, like MIDI keyboard, yeah, I've not got much and never have and never will. No, I will at some point, but
Yeah.
It's very bare basic. You don't need anything to produce apart from time and commitment. Honestly,
Time and
that's all it is.
commitment. How long do you spend making each track, do you think? Do you labor on it, or are you quite immediate with it?
I think it depends on the track. Like the thing with my particular, like, the way I do things is I don't like to leave things unfinished, because a lot of people will have songs or like countless files of unfinished tracks. Some of them might be good, some of them might be bad, some of them lull, and then you just end up with this mess of stuff that's never finished. So what I try to do and strive by is to finish everything that I start. I would say I finish 80 to 90% of what I start.
No shit.
Yeah. It's brutal. So if something is really good and I'm really vibing it, I can finish it in a day or two. If something I'm not vibing that much, it can take a while, and then you sort of don't like it by the end. Or sometimes you've developed it enough and it's changed enough times that it's pretty cool by the end. And I'm like, oh, cool. I'm glad I stuck with it.
Wow.
It's pretty brutal what I do to myself. But I think I like the method, because then it's kind of neater. You get more closure as well. I find a lot of things I need closure on before I can start my next sort of,
That's interesting. And not the way most people do it, I have to say. Most people with immediate recall on your sessions, you can just be like, oh, I've got this idea, I'll try that out, can't be bothered with it anymore, on to the next, Does that mean, so what sparks a creative spark for you then? Is it, do you have to have a particular idea in mind, because your ideas, that you try to see them through to completion?
No, absolutely not. I have, as I think I mentioned, I have many ways that I might start a project. So like something like the East Asian themed ones, they definitely started with an idea and like me trying to morph that idea into music. Or sometimes it'll start with me just like, oh, I want to open Ableton. Here's a kick.
Yeah.
Where am I going with this? Or I'll start with like listening to some music, bopping along and being like, this is sick. I'm going to try and make something like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, any which way that you might think to like create a spark, or like I'll probably have tried it and still use it.
Yeah, I like it. Cool. And do you make stuff outside of Footwork, or is it mainly Footwork that you stick to these days? Yeah?
Yes, plenty of stuff. That's probably my favorite one, but it's also like the hardest one to get into, also the hardest one to get people to listen to. But I love lots of music. Like, I started producing house just because it's quite, I guess it's easy and intuitive. And it's also the thing I listened to the most in my time DJing as well. I just DJed house for like 4 years, so probably that's why it was easier to sort of start on house. And I still make a little bit of house. I try to make garage, but sometimes it's I think it's like the hardest thing to make. I just can't get the swings or something. It's always a little bit off, but I kind of make garage. Got some bassy tunes, jungle. There's one track that's kind of drum and bassy. So it's like whatever's in there.
Yeah.
In the bass music spectrum, I'm trying to make. There's a forthcoming thing on Outhouse Sounds in January. I've got an EP with them coming. Yeah, on the slower BPM, housey, bassy, garagey.
Amazing stuff. That's awesome. I know that Mincy says she can't make garage. She's like, I can't fuck with this. It's too difficult. Like, yeah.
It is really hard.
Yeah. I look, I haven't really gotten past 8-bar loops yet. Is there any advice you can give me to try and get past the 8-bar loop?
Wow. What? Yes, but what do you think is stopping you getting past the 8-bar loop?
Time. And
You run out of time?
Yeah, I haven't spent enough time. So this room has been quite messy lately. I've obviously got the radio show and the interviews that I'm doing.
That's a lot of work, man.
And obviously full-time job as well. And it's just, it seems monolithic. But
yeah.
So it's just, I'm still in that phase where you were, where you were fucking with it a bit, but weren't taking it super seriously. I think I'm in that phase. And what I really need to do is make the decision to turn it into a routine of, once a day, do it, or, block time out is what needs to happen. Yeah, that's what I need to do, I think.
Yeah, well, I guess because when I started, I definitely didn't finish anything because it was all garbage. Like the first stuff anyone tries to make is like, pretty average because, you've got your like favorite music and it's like you hold it up here. And then the first stuff I was making was down here,
Yeah.
And then it does take like a year or half a year, depending how much time, for you to get kind of like here. And then those loops are getting kind of like, oh yeah, these are groovy. But like the projects where you're this kind of at this level, it's really hard to finish them because you're like, this is just average. But eventually you learn enough and you're getting to like a good point. So if you've got a loop that you're actually really vibing, then it would be easier to complete. But if you're listening to the loop and you're like, it still doesn't sound like a song to me, then maybe that's the problem.
Yeah. Okay. Doesn't sound like a song. I've not heard it put that way before. People say like one of the bits of advice I've had is build up the 8 or 16 bars or whatever to the point that if this was the peak of your song, you'd be happy with it. And then it's just about arrangement. Yeah. So
that's a good one.
Yeah. So I definitely need to do that. And I spoke to Janus Rasmussen from Kaismos the other day, and he said that arrange as soon as possible. Like get it into an arrangement because songs can live and die by the arrangement. You might be really vibing a loop, and as soon as you try and put it into an arrangement, it just loses something, and maybe it wasn't meant to be. And I got a little bit emotional because it's like you've got this really great loop that you really love, and then it dies in the arrangement. You're like, oh, it's really sad. Anyway, no, I definitely just think it's time. I definitely just think it's time that I need to dedicate to it. So within your music production, do you use mostly what comes within Ableton, or do you have any external bits and pieces that you like to play with?
Yeah, that's it. I'm very, very basic. So basic, it's like, bare backbones. Like I've got some good sample packs that I've like downloaded or been shared from friends. And I've tried to download plugins, but none of them work with my certain Ableton.
Okay.
So I've just been like, all right. But honestly, all you need is in Ableton. Like, because I asked Mr. Sunroof, DJ Sunroof.
Oh yeah.
He's a mate of mine as well. When I started like getting into production properly, and was like, mate, like, what plugins should I use to make bassy sounds? Like, you make really awesome stuff. And he was like, oh, I just use Wavetable or what's the other one I use all the time? Oh my God, how's the name falling out of my head?
Do you want me to crack open Ableton? Is it one of the built-in ones? It's analog.
Yeah. No, yeah, there's analog, Wavetable, and
hang on, I'm just pulling it up now. Wavetable, Operator, Impulse.
Operator, yes. Operator. That's the one I use most as well.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, he was saying Operator is really good. Analog and Wavetable are really good. So like the scope for what you can do within Ableton is actually incredible. And if you like it's honestly can be really overwhelming. There's like all this gear to help you. There's all these 5 million plugins, and then you got to learn how to use them when Ableton's already complicated enough.
Yeah. So you
Like,
keep it simple and keep it in the box as much as you can because there's so much in there. You don't need anything
there is
else.
a lot in the box.
Yeah.
The only thing that I get very constrained with, which I wish wasn't, is just keys sounds, like good keyboard sounds.
Fine.
Because I've tried to play around with like heaps of the Ableton ones, and you can't get them sounding quite nice and lush. And then you go to using samples, but most samples are already chords.
Yep.
So then if you're making a progression, it's quite jarring because then you're never playing anything in key.
Yeah.
So then if I could just get like a nice one key stab to be able to play my own chords and chord progressions, that would be great. But
Yeah, you're getting by without it. If you had one, Ableton people do better. Yeah,
I know, like there's plugins for it, but none of them work for me. I'm just cursed.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool. Any last bits of advice on the production side for me, who can not really get past an 8-bar loop? If there's any other bits of advice you can sort of give me.
Oh, stick with it and stay positive, and also try not to overthink things. I think I've seen a lot of people, they're very good at making music, but they get self-conscious of nothing's ever good enough and all this stuff. And like, maybe that's just their work ethic and they need everything to be perfect. But at the same time, nothing's ever perfect. And you will probably, think something is way worse than the next person just because of your own subjective, like your view on it. And everything is subjective. So like, even if you think something is kind of average, it's probably okay or good even. I'd definitely say, don't overthink things and give yourself some time and space to just try just finish one structure of something.
Yeah.
One of your favorite ones, and you're not going to kill it. You probably won't kill
Yeah,
it.
yeah. No, I'm sure I won't. It was an over dramatization. No, that's really good advice. Sonya, this is amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. What's coming up for you, pipeline wise? You've got the new release coming up. Tell us about that quickly.
Oh yeah, a continuation of the Oriental theme for B&H Records. There'll be 2 more volumes. So there's one coming out 17th of December, and then one next year. And this one for this year is like kind of like the 160 jungly theme, and then next year it's more of the 140 and like dubby vibe, but all within the same theme. So they're all interconnected, which is really cool.
Yep.
Gonna have a brand new artist from New Zealand coming out in hopefully February later on, and other big compilations which I'm looking forward to. But personally, the release on House Sounds, Extra Spicy, something probably coming out on Good Street Records. It's been a lot of talking, and we've had the masters, and there's no confirmed dates yet, but it'll be happening. Oh, I'll be joining you on the New Culture compilation.
Sick.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite tracks actually. Alex managed to nab. It's really pretty heavy. I like it.
Amazing. Busy as.
Yeah. Staying busy.
That's really, really cool. Thank you so much for joining us, Sonya. I've really enjoyed chatting with you. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go check out Sonya Myledo. All the links to her stuff will be in the description below. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
That was awesome. You're a great talker.
Oh, really? Oh my!
You're a great talker, and you've got a great laugh. Like you laugh at you laugh a lot. It's really, really nice.
Oh, maybe it's insecurity. Ooh.
Could be. I mean, I laugh at myself all the time, and I know I'm heavily insecure.
I don't know. I guess it's definitely more engaging and friendly if you're smiling and can I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. What do you got on for the weekend?
The weekend, tomorrow I have some work experience, which is kind of like, it's not really a trial. It's really weird. I can start at the start. At the moment, I'm doing outdoor recreation, a cert 3,
Okay.
which means I'm learning to be a bushwalking, abseiling canoe guide.
Wow.
So to kind of get into the industry, what you do is a day of like work experience with a company.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of hang out, do some work. They see how you are, la la la, and then if they like you, they might give you like actual work later on. So it's kind of like a trial. So I got that on, and then I think I might be going to Solace on Sunday, like a drum and bass party. I wasn't planning on it. I was hoping to relax and maybe open Ableton. I haven't actually opened Ableton in months. I'm ashamed of myself because I was going hardcore last year. I was producing, if not every day, like 6 days a week.
No shit.
Yeah, I went hard. And this I think it's just this semester with school. It's full time.
Yeah.
And then organizing B&H is time as well. And then it's just like any time to relax as well. So
for sure.
I'm lucky because I worked so hard this year and last year that I've got like a pretty big backlog of stuff that can be pushed out for a while. So it looks like I'm working.
Yeah, you seem super busy. But yeah, I get it. It's like you do start to get a bit of a fuck. You get drawn to it. It's like in the back of your mind a little bit, until you scratch that itch, you're a bit fucked, or like you've just got a bit of brain fog that won't go away. It's really annoying. Yeah.
Oh no, totally. And like a bit of guilt as well. I'm like, oh, well, like, what if I've forgotten how to use Ableton? What if I get back and I'm terrible?
Yeah.
Like, what then?
And then you push that thought down for a while, and then the next time you think about Ableton, you're like, it's like that thought's right back there again. Haven't dealt with it yet. Yeah. Yeah, it's annoying. No, honestly, it's really nice to meet you, man.
You too.
And thanks for joining us. I'm really excited for everything that you have going on. It's really, really sweet.
Oh, thank you. And how long are you in the UK for? Is that like your foreseeable future?
Fuck yeah, dude. So me and the missus have bought a place over here now. So we're
You bought a place?
Yeah, so yeah,
Congrats.
it's on share to buy, so it's like we only buy a percentage of the house, but we own a part of it. So we're living in London, so we're in West in Ealing.
Wow. London's huge, right?
Say again?
London is huge, right?
It's fucking busy. Yeah, it's a busy city compared to I mean, there's so many fucking people. And we live on a well, I mean, we're not central. We're on Have you been to London?
Only once as a kid, so not really.
No, I mean, it's divided into zones. You've got like zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, and it goes out to zone 6. And we're in zone 3, which is at the end of the central line. So it's just like out west. And West London is considered to be like quite a nice area, and it's really nice. It's like it's not like Chelsea where it's like super posh cunts everywhere.
Yeah.
We used to live in Highgate, which is North London, and that was posh as fuck as well. It was just like super white, like, gentrified area.
So kind of like North Sydney and Mosman.
Correct.
If you had
100%. That's exactly what it's like. Where we've moved now is far more multicultural. There's like a big Asian population, which means like various like Indian, Nepalese, kind of Pakistani.
Yeah.
So the food around here is amazing. It's a bit more lively. It's just way better. But we've got like a nice flat, and it's great, and we're loving it. But I do need to get back to Australia more, because it's been like 3 years or more since I've been back, which is fucked. So I'm looking to get back, hopefully back end next year is the plan.
Back end next year. Well, you got to put on some hell more parties. Have everyone that you've interviewed.
I fucking will, dude. Don't you worry about that. Actually, so this is top secret and not even really confirmed yet. Near where I am here, there's a bar called the Red Room, which is actually famous. It has a Wikipedia page. It's the place where the Rolling Stones met each other. It's 10 minutes that way. I've got a gig there tonight. He's only got 2 DJs that play commercial garage on Friday and Saturday nights. One of them is moving back to Iron Appa. So I may be becoming the new resident at the Red Room every Saturday night, playing whatever I want. And the plan is for me to start bringing DJs here so people can if they want to come to London, they can crash in the spare bedroom, and we've got a venue to play just over there. And we've obviously got the studio here as well. It could be a great way for Australians to come play in London for fucking cheap.
Yeah, wow. That's incredible.
Well, nothing's confirmed yet. Like, it's a trial shift tonight, but I'm thinking like,
you have the vision.
Yeah, 10 steps ahead. You know what I mean? So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, man. Cool.
Well,
all right.
Good luck on your trial.
Say again. Thanks, man. Yeah, love yours too.
Oh, thank you.
All right, cool. Great to speak to you. I'll let you get on.
All right. Bye.
Cheers. Bye. Hello, legend. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. If you like that, I got a ton more of these interviews being uploaded constantly on the YouTube page. And I do a weekly mix on Mixcloud every Saturday. So if you can subscribe, like, comment, that helps out loads with the algorithm. And if you follow me everywhere and you like the sound of what's going on here, let me know. I'm always open to hearing from people. This is very new. I'm figuring it out as I go along. But yeah, there's tons more. Check out the other interviews. Follow me. Listen. Jump onto the live stream. Say hi. I'm a friendly dude, and I really appreciate you watching. So thank you so much. You're a fucking legend. Love ya. Peace. Bye.